Hello everybody, it's me, Star Wars Nerds and Geeks, and no, I don't have a Minecraft video for today. I know many of you are going to be very disappointed about that. I'm sorry, but I think I can make it up to you. See, today's going to be the start of a new series, or at least hopefully a new series called the Quickfire series, where essentially I take a topic that I've been wanting to talk about that is too short to be its own episode, but is too long to be in like an episode where I share multiple things. So yeah, this is my quickfire series. It's just gonna be a bunch of short videos of stuff I've wanted to talk about. Anyways, roll the intro. So, as you may be able to tell from the video title, or may not, I'm still not sure what the title is going to be exactly, but today I'm going to be talking about legends. More specifically, what are legends? And now, I'm not talking about Ewan McGregor or Mark Hamill or Carrie Fisher or any of them, though they are legends in my heart. I'm actually talking about the classification of legends, the legends of Star Wars. So, what are legends? Well, a long time ago, not in a galaxy far, far away, no, in this galaxy, after the original trilogy came out, people started to make books and comics and some TV shows, even, that all took place in the Star Wars galaxy, and some of them filled in holes that were left by the original trilogy, like what happened in between each of the movies. Some of them try to tell you what happened before the movies or after the movies. But anyways, some of these were completely made by Lucasfilm. Like there's a bunch of um, series that came out that were made by Lucasfilm. But then there was also a bunch of comic books and books that were made just by fans that created them. And I believe most of these fans got permission from Lucasfilm to make it, but it was completely their own creation. For example, one of my favorite series is the Thrawn trilogy. It's by Timothy Zahn. So I have the book right here. It came out in. It's hard to find the copyright. Yes, it came out in 1991. So, if my dates are correct, that is just after episode 6 got released and just before episode 1 got released. I'll put in right now if I was correct or not. But anyways, this, as I said, was just created by Timothy Zahn, who had an idea. It's about Thrawn, who's a tactical genius who comes into the galaxy after um, the Empire got destroyed in Episode 6, and he's essentially uniting the different warlords that have been trying to make a new empire for themselves. He unites them all, and he goes on a campaign against the rebellion, which is now called the New Republic. So, anyways, these are really interesting books, and if you haven't read any of them, and the comic books are good too, but if you haven't read any of them, I would suggest it. They're really good. But anyways, that's not what I'm talking about today. So, what happened with these books is you may have seen in the picture, but there is a big gold bar at the top that says Legends. And what that essentially means is it's not canon. Now, that, as far as I know, that label was not there during, I guess you could say, George Lucas's reign of Star Wars. That came after Disney bought Star Wars. So when Disney bought Star Wars, one of the very first things that they did was take all of these non George Lucas made books and TV series, if there are any, and the comic books, and they classified all of them as legends, which essentially means people can read it and you can enjoy it, but none of it is true. None of it actually happened. The only things that happened are the things that Disney said happened. So when I was mentioning Thrawn, maybe some of you are familiar with it, those of you who have seen the Rebels TV series. So Grand Admiral Thrawn shows up in the Rebels TV series during, I believe, the third and fourth seasons. Um, and he is a crucial character in there. And that the idea for that Thrawn came from the Thrawn that Timothy Zahn made. So, and Timothy Zahn actually made some books that were kind of like supervised by Disney that have become canon about Thrawn. So essentially, Disney has taken some of these legends now ideas and they have transformed it into their own canon. Yeah, that's about all I can think of for legends. Essentially, they are fan made products that when Disney took over, they classified them all as fakes almost. They're legends and none of it's real. They then created their own canon, which could be kind of similar to some Legends books. And if you're reading some Legends books or Legends books or comics, you might be able to see some similarities between those and the canon that Disney made. But a lot of it's not true and has nothing to do with anything that's going on in the canonized Star Wars. And so, is this a good thing or a bad thing? So, as I mentioned, some of these Legends books were published before the the prequel trilogy was made, and most of them were actually published. Yeah, most of them were published after the original trilogy. Some were published after the prequel trilogy, but most after the original trilogy. And what that means is people had to assume what happened before the sequel trilogy. Gosh, I'm so out of it. People had to assume what happened during the prequels, as the prequels didn't exist yet. So, for example, Obi-Wan Kenobi mentioned the Clone Wars, and in the Timothy Zahn book, the Thrawn trilogy, they mention the Clone Wars a lot, but it's nothing like the Clone Wars that you see in the prequel trilogy. They kind of make it sound like the clones are turning against the people who created them. They're turning against the Republic and fighting them. So yeah, that's nothing like the prequel trilogy shows it. So there's many things like that that are just inaccurate, and if these books were considered true, then you would have to rewrite them to make them make a little bit more sense in with the movies as they are. And a bunch of these actually take place after Episode 6, around the same time, maybe a few years before, but around the same time as the sequel trilogy takes place. And as I said, some of them line up, but a lot of them don't. So again, a lot of it just doesn't make sense. So while these books are really good and interesting, they they don't make sense in the grand scheme of things when you're thinking about all the things that are canon right now. Canon, if I haven't explained it yet, means all the things that are true and have actually happened, whereas legends are things that haven't happened or make believe. But though I believe I've said that multiple times. Anyways, this is good because it doesn't really follow the canon. And it's also good that these weren't thrown away. They were just labeled as legends, so people can still read them and enjoy them. Like, I still read them and enjoy them. They're still really good, and you can still pull ideas from them. But yeah, that's about all I have to say for legends. I would suggest that you start reading. That if you're into Star Wars, you should probably be reading maybe even just one or two. I would suggest the Thrawn trilogy because it's super good. But yeah, the Legends books are really good, and I would suggest that you read some of them even if they aren't true, and even read some of the ones that Disney has published. I haven't read any of them just yet, but I've heard people say that they are good, and some of them are worth reading, like the Aftermath series I've heard is good, and Timothy Zahn's new Thrawn series is probably going to be good because Timothy Zahn's a really good writer. But yeah, that's again all I have to say about Legends. I decided to uh, give this video because I'm going to start using Legends more and more in some of my videos. I'm going to be talking about more Legends books that I've read and more stuff that comes from Legends. So just wanted to give you a background on this because when I started watching Star Wars YouTubers, and this was all before I watched before I knew what Legends were. I was really confused when they're talking about people like the Yuzhong Vong or the Ancient Jedi and the Species of the Sith and Darth Revan, all that stuff. I was really confused, and it took me a while to learn about what Legends were. So just wanted to give you a little bit of background on that, and again, maybe find a book to read. But I've really rambled on for too long. This may be too long. I have no clue. But I just wanted to really quickly say a summary. I haven't done a summary in a while. I feel like it might be helpful here. But anyways, in the case of Legends, it's not a story the Jedi would tell you. I mean, it's not, they're not stories that Disney would tell you, given that they, classified them all as fake, or in other words, legends. And, yeah, that's about it. Legends were books written by fans that were kind of real for a time, and then suddenly they weren't. And that's about all I've got to say. But as always, this is Star Wars Nerds and Geeks signing off. See you next time.